Hello, lovely listeners. I'm Julia, who will help you relax and fall asleep tonight. What time is it for you right now, and do you have a favorite bedtime routine? Tell us in the comments. Once in a faraway kingdom, nestled among rolling emerald hills and silver streams, there lived a humble maiden named Iselin. Born into poverty, her life was as unadorned as the simple wood cabin where she dwelt with her widowed mother. Yet, even in hardship, Iselin possessed a luminous spirit. Her heart overflowed with kindness, and though she had little, she shared much. Smiles, gentle words, and her rare but sparkling laugh that echoed like soft bells in the quiet village. One crisp autumn morning, as mist clung to dewy cobblestones, a mysterious stranger arrived in the village. Rumors spread quickly about a noble merchant who had journeyed from a land of opulence beyond the mountains. The merchant carried with him wondrous fabrics, dazzling jewels, and most curiously, a pair of shoes unlike any seen in the village before. Their deep crimson hue shimmered in the sunlight, capturing every onlooker's gaze with an almost magical allure. Iselin's eyes were drawn irresistibly to these red shoes as they were displayed in the market square by the merchant's stall. She listened in hushed wonder as townsfolk whispered, "They are said to be enchanted, crafted with a mysterious skill that defies the ordinary." Though her heart danced with the desire to wear them, she dared not dream that such luxury could ever be hers. Yet, in that moment, something stirred within her, a mixture of aspiration and a longing for beauty and acceptance. At first, the red shoes brought Iselin fleeting moments of delight. She danced in the meadows beneath the old oak, twirling with abandon, as if every gust of wind whispered secrets of forgotten magic. But soon, the shoes began to possess an unnatural fervor. At night, when the moon hung low and luminous, the shoes would thrash as if compelled by a will not their own. In her sleep, Iselin dreamt that the shoes were urging her to dance forever, with no end, a ceaseless waltz of sorrow that trapped her in an endless performance. In the days that followed, the red shoes proved a mixed blessing. Villagers marveled at the beauty with which Iselin moved on the cobblestones, even as they sensed a strange restlessness in her eyes. Her steps seemed to be guided by another force, whispered an old kindly woman at the market. Yet Iselin, too enchanted by the power of the shoes, ignored their portents, convinced they were a reminder that dreams could come true, even if they led her astray from the well-worn path of convention. One crisp evening, as a balmy summer wind rustled through the streets, Iselin was summoned to perform at the grand ball held in the royal palace. It was a chance to escape her poverty, an opportunity to dance among nobility and bask in admiration. Dressed in a gown of soft blue linen and crowned with delicate wildflowers, she ventured into the hallowed halls of the palace. There, as she glided across the marbled floors, the red shoes shone with a brilliance that captivated the eyes of all in attendance. The king himself leaned forward, whispering to his queen, there is a magic in her dance that outshines any jewel I have ever seen." But as the night wore on, the red shoes began to dictate her movements with increasing intensity. Every step took on a life of its own, pulling her in directions she could not control. The music from the orchestra grew distant, as if the world had narrowed to nothing but the inexorable rhythm of her feet. The court looked on in awe and horror as Iselin danced with a fervor that transcended mortal limits, her face a blend of ecstasy and terror. "Stop, please, let me rest," she cried, but her voice was drowned by the haunting melody that seemed to emanate from the very soles of the shoes. When the final note of the ball's music faded into silence, a heavy sorrow filled the great hall. The red shoes had not simply carried her gracefully through the dance, they had imprisoned her spirit in a relentless cadence. The king ordered that Iselin be tenderly led away, yet whispers among the courtiers suggested that the shoes held a grip on her that no one could break. The royal physicians attempted to ease her distress, but every time Iselin closed her eyes, she found herself again on that endless stage where the red shoes tapped out a fade of perpetual longing. In the quiet of her chamber, she confided in a trusted old servant, Marta, who had once known the gentle ways of the village. "Ah, Marta, why do these shoes torment me so?" Iselin asked, her voice trembling with genuine desperation. Marta, with tears glistening in her eyes, replied, "Child, I have seen many such charms ensnare the hearts of those too eager for beauty and renown. The red shoes are not mere adornments, but vessels of a curse, one that demands a price for their glittering allure. You must find a way to break this spell before it consumes you entirely." Haunted by Marta's words, Iselin began a desperate search for answers. Days blended into nights as she pored over ancient tomes beneath the moonlit arches of the palace library. There, hidden within fragile pages, she discovered tales of enchanted objects, items crafted by ancient sorcerers to test the mortal heart. In a faded margin of a neglected manuscript, the cursed red shoes were mentioned, a warning to all who were beguiled by vanity and the ephemeral splendor of mere appearances. To break the curse, the text whispered cryptically, one must sacrifice the very desire that led to its acquisition. As Iselin's eyes filled with resolve, another chilling thought gripped her heart. What sacrifice did the curse demand? And was she capable of surrendering the deepest, most cherished part of herself, the longing for recognition and external validation? Thus began a journey that would lead Iselin far beyond the glittering corridors of the palace, into wild, enchanted forests where, at the heart of an ancient grove, dwelled a reclusive sorceress known only as the Weaver of Fates. This mysterious figure was said to wield the power to mend and unweave the tangled threads of destiny. With the red shoes as both burden and guide, Iselin set forth, leaving behind all that was familiar. Along her path she encountered kindred souls scarred by unfulfilled dreams. Aldrich, a reformed minstrel whose melancholic songs told of lost loves and battered hopes, and Alicia, a gentle healer whose wisdom was born from decades of quiet suffering. Together, their unlikely fellowship united by a shared yearning to break free from curses and to reclaim the freedom of their own spirits. Their travels were perilous, through misty swamps and darkened woods where murmurs of the old world still lingered. The companions encountered eerie enchantments and shadowy figures determined to test their resolve. One night, while gathered around a crackling fire, Aldrich softly hummed a mournful tune. "Do you think destiny is a tapestry or a labyrinth?" he asked, his voice low and reflective. Alicia replied, "Perhaps it is both, a tapestry of fate interwoven with the labyrinth of our choices. Yet remember, even in the darkest maze, a single spark of light can guide the way." And Iselin listened to their words with a heavy heart. The red shoes, though often silent in their threat, now pulsed with urgency, urging her forward. Each hesitant step was a battle, a desperate contest between an inner will and the unyielding pull of a cursed desire. After many arduous days of travel, the fellowship reached the outskirts of an enchanted forest known as the Whispering Pines. The ancient trees soared upward, their mighty limbs intertwined like strands of fate itself. A serene yet melancholic beauty pervaded the forest, as if every rustle of leaves whispered secrets of ages long past. It was here, among the solemn trees and murmuring brooks, that Iselin and her companions sought clues to the mysterious weaver of fates. Under the spectral light of a silvery moon, the group entered a clearing where the air shimmered with an ethereal presence. In the heart of the clearing, amid a circle of ancient stones, stood a small, time-worn hut, its wooden walls cloaked in creeping vines and tender starlight. Aldrich, his eyes aglow with wonder, remarked, "'Tis must be the dwelling of the weaver of fates. The aura here sings of mysteries and promises long forgotten." And nervously Iselin approached the hut. The door, carved with intricate symbols of ancient lore, creaked open as if welcoming her weary soul. Inside, the modest space was lit only by the soft glow of a solitary lantern, and the walls were lined with curious artifacts and faded manuscripts. Seated at an ancient wooden desk was a figure shrouded in velvety shadows. The sorceress wore a cloak that shimmered like twilight, and her eyes burned with a calm intensity that spoke of ageless wisdom. "Welcome, child of desire and destiny," the weaver intoned, her voice both tender and commanding. "Have been expecting you, for the threads of fate have woven your path long before you set foot in these lands." Trembling yet resolute, Iselin inquired, "I have come seeking liberation from this curse that binds me to an endless, uncontrollable dance. How can I rid myself of the red shoes that dictate my every step?" The weaver regarded her in deep silence before speaking again. "The curse of the red shoes is not merely a punishment for vanity, but a reflection of the inner turmoil that festers when one clings too tightly to superficial desire. To break this curse, you must confront the essence of that longing and relinquish the need for external validation. Only then can the spell be undone." Thus began a series of trials, each more daunting than the last. The weaver guided Iselin into a state of mystical meditation, forcing her to traverse the hidden corridors of her own heart, a labyrinth of memories, regrets, and unfulfilled dreams. In this inner realm, she beheld vivid scenes from her past, moments of unbridled hope, fragile laughter shared under starlit skies, and the tender warmth of love that had slipped away with time. With each step deeper into her inner self, the red shoes, ever the symbol of her fixation, began to glow more intensely, as if warning her of the dangerous power of desire. Within the depths of her meditative journey, Iselin encountered a spectral vision of her late mother. Her eyes shone with both sadness and gentle encouragement as she whispered, "For, dear child, remember that beauty is not confined to material adornments. True beauty lies in the goodness of your soul, in the strength of your heart, and in the compassion you nurture for others. Do not let these red shoes consume the light that is inherently within you." When Iselin awoke from the trance, she noticed that the red shoes had dimmed ever so slightly, their enchantment momentarily weakened by the confrontation with her inner truth. The weaver explained, "Every glimmer of hope and every echo of sorrow, every reflection of love and longing is part of your journey. Yet the path to liberation requires that you symbolically cast aside the desire that has chained you. Seek instead the humble beauty hidden in everyday life, and you will find the strength to unbind the curse." And reinvigorated by this revelation, the fellowship pressed on deeper into the whispering pines. Aldrich composed heartfelt ballads, celebrating both the bittersweet dance of fate and the possibility of redemption, while Alicia offered soft prayers to the unseen guardians of nature. The forest, mysterious and at times implacable, seemed to part its darkened paths in silent guidance, leading them toward a serene glade where wildflowers swayed in a gentle dance with the night breeze. In the center of the glade lay a clear, mirror-like pond that rippled with traces of starlight. Iselin knelt beside its pristine surface, and as she gazed into its depths, the red shoes shimmered with a mournful beauty, their reflection merging with the tender image of her own face. In that silent moment, she realized that her longing for beauty had, for too long, eclipsed the quiet grace she inherently possessed. "Is it possible to choose a different path now?" she murmured to the reflective water, as though it held the answers to a timeless riddle. The forest answered with the rustle of leaves, and in that gentle tremor she heard an echo of ancient insight. Within you lies the strength to choose a path of authenticity, to let go of the desire that binds you. Bolstered by these words, Iselin looked to her companions, their eyes kindled with shared resolve, and declared, "Together we shall find the remedy to this curse, and restore the balance between desire and contentment in my life." And thus, with hearts intertwined and spirits afire with hope, they journeyed onward, leaving no stone unturned in their quest for true liberation. In the days that followed the mystical encounter by the mirror pond, the companions pressed onward in search of a final act that would break the curse once and for all. The weaver had intimated in cryptic verse that the ultimate key lay in surrendering the very essence of desire. This was a journey not only across wild lands, but into the very depths of Iselin's soul, a passage where no external force could tread except the raw truths she would unflinchingly face. In a remote valley shrouded in quiet mists, the group arrived at a forgotten monastery perched on a craggy hill. The ancient edifice was a haven for those seeking refuge from worldly attachments, a sanctuary where ascetic monks had long pondered the nature of passion and renunciation. Within those stoic stone walls, Iselin hoped to find guidance on how to free herself from the yearning for beauty that had so cruelly ensnared her. An elderly monk, eyes kind yet unyielding as the winter stones, welcomed the travelers with gentle civility. In measured tones he spoke, "And the path to your release lies within, dear child. To break the spell cast upon you, you must undertake the rite of the true self, a ritual of inner reckoning wherein you will confront the mirror of your own soul." Iselin's heart pounded with hope and trepidation. "What must I do, venerable sir?" she asked in a trembling whisper. The monk replied, "So you must dance, not for the allure of superficial beauty, but with movements guided by the purity of your spirit. Walk through the labyrinth of your past, embrace every joy and every sorrow, and through this mindful dance, let the red shoes burn away into nothingness. Only then will the curse be lifted and your true self set free." Over the ensuing days, amid the austere beauty of the monastery's hidden gardens, Iselin prepared both body and soul for the final dance. Aldrich's once mournful tunes gave way to resonant chants of introspection, and Alicia's soothing words wove seamlessly with the ancient prayers uttered in quiet corners of the monastery. The very stones seemed to hold their breath in anticipation of the transformation about to unfold. On the eve of the ritual, in a secluded courtyard aglow with soft candlelight, Iselin found herself alone with the red shoes still clinging to her feet, glowing defiantly in the dim radiance. She felt their weight, a persistent reminder of past desires and the vanity that had once ruled her life. Tentatively, she began to move, each step echoing the rhythm of her own heartbeat. With time, her movements deepened in meaning, each gesture heavy with memories of childhood wonder, moments of quiet happiness, and the bittersweet lament for lost innocence. As her dance progressed, the red shoes grew alarmingly hot, their scarlet light intensifying as though struggling against the purity emerging in her spirit. In a climactic moment that seemed to suspend time itself, Iselin lifted her head high and cried, "I renounce these cursed tokens of vanity." With that proclamation, her dance transformed. It was no longer a submission to ethereal compulsion, but a defiant display of her inner strength. With every spin, the red shoes grew brighter until, at last, a burst of light erupted from their scarlet surface. In that resplendent flash, the shoes disintegrated into fine, sparkling dust that drifted upward on a soft breeze. The assembled monks and her dear companions watched in hushed reverence as the remnants of the curse melted away, leaving Iselin's feet bare, pure and unburdened. A gentle rain began to fall then, soft as a lover's caress, as if the heavens themselves celebrated her liberation. In that rain, Iselin perceived a reflection of her own rebirth, a cleansing of past attachments, and a promise of a future unshackled by the glitter of superficial allure. Yet even in that moment of triumph, a quiet question stirred in her heart. Was it simply the surrender of vanity, or was there something greater that I have embraced? Aldrich stepped forward, his voice laced with soft understanding. And it was both a sacrifice and a revelation, dear Iselin. In letting go of what once enchanted you, you have discovered the beauty that lies beneath. Your dance of renunciation was not the end of beauty, but its truest form, beauty born from the soul itself. As the night deepened, the companions kept vigil under a star-studded sky, sharing stories of their inner battles and triumphs. The silent monastery, once echoing with the weight of unspoken sorrows, had transformed into a sanctuary of collective resilience. With dawn stretching rosy fingers over the land, Iselin witnessed the final dissolution of the curse, a shimmering veil of mist lifting to reveal not the remnants of the red shoes, but a reflection of her bare, unburdened feet on dew-kissed stone. In that sacred light, a gentle epiphany washed over her. The curse had been lifted, not by magic alone, but by the courage to face herself honestly and to forsake the burdens of misplaced desire. With the curse removed, Iselin returned to the kingdom with steps light and free. She had grown in wisdom and inner strength during her arduous journey, and now those who had once marveled at the external glitter of a cursed trinket beheld a transformation emanating from deep within her. The villagers, who once shunned and envied her, greeted her return with awe and tender joy. Her bare feet now left soft imprints on the old cobblestones, testament to a freedom rediscovered. In the days that followed, Iselin embraced a different dance, a dance inspired not by the allure of enchanted objects, but by the quiet, genuine rhythm of a heart set free. She became a guiding light for those who struggled under the weight of vanity, showing them that true beauty is nurtured from within. With Aldrich's soulful music and Alicia's healing ministrations, the once hardened hearts of the townsfolk softened, and her tale of transformation resonated with all who yearned for a more meaningful existence. One bright morning, as the sun rose in a cascade of pinks and golds, Iselin gathered a small assembly in the town square. In the tender morning light, her gentle voice drifted on the breeze as she said, "Why, beauty is not bound by the glitter of adornments, nor by the fleeting dazzle of externals. True beauty is the light of honesty, a reflection of the love and kindness that dwells within each one of us." Her words were not mere rhetoric. They were the living testament of a life reshaped through hardship and introspection. Inspired by her wisdom, the villagers began to reshape their lives. The market square, once a haven of ostentation, transformed into a place where artisans displayed humble crafts, and the joy of creation trumped the allure of sparkling facades. The red shoes, once symbols of a painful obsession, faded into memory, a poignant lesson on the dangers of unbridled desire. Not everyone in the kingdom, however, welcomed these changes. Whispers of dissent reached the ears of Sir Bartholomew, a cunning nobleman whose ambitions had long been steeped in power and splendor. Envious of the moral authority Iselin now commanded among the common folk, Sir Bartholomew conspired to reclaim the lost magic for his own gain. "If only I could harness the power of that cursed object," he mused bitterly, "and I'd sway the hearts of the people with its glittering allure and bend their dreams to my will." Driven by greed, he set forth on a dark quest to reconstruct the red shoes. Employing the finest, most reclusive cobbler of the kingdom, a master of leather and lore, he labored in a secret workshop hidden deep within a forgotten castle. Yet magic does not yield easily to greed. On the night before his grand unveiling, a furious storm gathered upon the castle. Fierce winds howled and lightning tore asunder the heavens. As if possessed by a power beyond mortal control, the enchanted fragments of the shoes, preserved in secrecy for Sir Bartholomew's purpose, began to glow with an eerie radiance. In a dazzling burst of light and fury, the reconstructed red shoes shattered into 1,000 iridescent fragments, scattering like broken dreams upon the tempestuous wind. The next morning, the kingdom awoke to a changed landscape. The villagers, who had long watched Iselin's transformation with hopeful eyes, now felt a deep reassurance. Those who sought to manipulate magic for vanity had been silenced by the very forces they intended to command. Sir Bartholomew's ambitions crumbled into obscurity, his name fading like a shadow in the bright noon. His failure became a cautionary tale, a reminder that the pursuit of shallow glory through manipulation only led to ruin. Iselin, with the support of Aldrich, Alicia, and many others, devoted her life to nurturing the inner light of those around her. Over time, the kingdom experienced gentle transformations. Schools were established where children learned the art of mindful living. Communal gatherings celebrated the simple joys of shared meals, laughter, and the quiet dignity of honest work. The cobblestone streets blossomed with flowers, vivid reminders that growth and renewal come from shedding the trappings of vanity and embracing a life of authentic beauty. In quiet legends sung by traveling minstrels, the tale of the red shoes became a parable, a tale warning of the perils of unbridled longing and extolling the redemptive power of self-awareness. News of Iselin's transformative journey spread far beyond the borders of the kingdom. In the capital city, once ruled by the relentless pursuit of wealth and spectacle, her story began to inspire change among even the most imperious aristocrats. Highborn ladies gradually set aside their elaborate gowns and glistening jewels in favor of simpler attire, while merchants found honor in trading honest wares rather than ostentatious extravagances. Deep within the hearts of the people grew a quiet awakening, a renaissance of humble virtues that gently overpowered the old obsession with glittering facades. In this reawakened land, a timid young man named Calder approached Iselin one serene afternoon as gentle sunlight bathed the cobblestone streets in a warm glow. With eyes full of both admiration and longing, he said in a voice barely above a whisper, "I have heard of your deliverance from the cursed red shoes, of how you freed yourself from the chains of desire that once enslaved you. I too carry a burden, a legacy of glittering wealth that binds me to a destiny dictated by those who value appearance over truth. Tell me, how might I learn to step beyond this gilded prison and embrace the freedom of an unburdened heart?" Iselin regarded Calder with a kind, knowing smile. "Dear Calder," she replied softly, "your journey is one that many have undertaken, and you must embark upon it with both courage and tenderness toward yourself. Listen to the quiet whispers of your heart. They are the echoes of your truest self. When you choose honesty over pretense and celebrate the beauty of what lies within, you will discover that true freedom is born not from the glitter of inherited wealth, but from the gentle radiance of a compassionate soul." Heartened by her words, Calder joined a small circle of like-minded souls who sought to redefine the meaning of purpose. Under Iselin's guidance, they gathered in humble community halls, sharing stories of personal triumphs and heartbreaks alike. Each narrative, whether laden with sorrow or aglow with hope, wove together into a vibrant tapestry that celebrated the unadorned beauty of genuine human connection. Calder came to understand that the real curse lay not in an enchanted artifact, but in the relentless pressure to conform to a world that prized empty veneers over the quiet authenticity of the human spirit. He discovered dormant passions through art, in heartfelt verses, and in the delicate cadence of a soul set free. And his newfound voice inspired countless others to look beyond the superficial glitter of the world. As seasons passed and the kingdom slowly transformed, streets once filled with the clamor of ostentation gave way to the mellifluous sounds of community celebrations and festivals honoring the beauty of everyday life. The old specter of vanity was relegated to mere folklore, a cautionary tale whispered to wide-eyed children on hushed evenings. Iselin's bare feet, once shackled by the relentless curse of desire, now trod upon the gentle paths of honest labor and simple artistry, a living emblem of triumph over the lure of empty adornments. In time, Iselin helped establish a haven, a school of life where wisdom, compassion, art, and music were treasured above all else. Here, young minds learned that beauty comes not from dazzling trinkets, but from the quiet dignity of the inner self. During many twilight gatherings, as the sky was brushed with soft hues of lavender and rose, Iselin would address her eager students with heartfelt conviction. "Let your hearts be your compass. Do not chase after that which sparkles then fades, but nurture the eternal flame within you. It is that undying light that will guide you through the darkest nights." Her words resonated deeply, sparking a quiet revolution that spread far and wide. Even as peace and genuine love blossomed throughout the transformed kingdom, Iselin sometimes revisited memories of her darker days, the days when cursed desire had threatened to consume her spirit. In moments of quiet solitude by the ancient pond where her inner journey had begun, she recalled the searing pain and the overwhelming liberation of that final, transcendental dance. She understood that every heart carries a cost for chasing ephemeral beauty, and that true radiance is born only when sacrifice and introspection combine to free the soul. Over the years, as the kingdom flourished under the gentle light of virtues rediscovered, Iselin's legacy grew into a cherished parable for all. Her tale, intertwined with the remnants of the red shoes, reminded everyone that in the dance of life, it is not the adornments upon our feet that define us, but the authenticity of our journey and the infinite capacity of our hearts to love and to grow. In every whisper of the wind, in every ripple upon a quiet pond, the gentle memory of her transformation echoed, a timeless reminder that magic may momentarily captivate the eye, but only the light of a sincere and kind heart endures. As news of renewal spread, even those once blinded by ostentation came to see that genuine beauty emanates from within. In the capital and in the remote villages alike, people began to embrace lives filled with honest connection, compassionate service, and humble creativity through shared songs, contemplative gatherings, and the steady march of daily kindness. The kingdom rediscovered a profound truth: that inner light transcends the allure of transitory splendor and blossoms in the quiet grace of authenticity. And so, as the golden years unfolded and the gentle cadence of life continued day by day, Iselin's name became synonymous with renewal and hope. In the soft glow of every sunset and the hush of every star-filled night, her story was recounted by those who had learned that the truest dance is the one performed with an unburdened, honest heart. Amid quiet reflections under an ancient oak or by the mirror-like surface of a calm pond, communities would remember that while the red shoes once symbolized a dangerous yearning, they had also paved the way for a transformation that celebrated the eternal beauty of truth, love, and compassion. Sweet dreams, good night.